I mean, you can see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, I'm from Brooklyn. Hey, get any?
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning. You're listening to the Mac and Jack Sports Show on Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Mac and Jack Sports Show. I'm your host, Mac. Jack has taken a couple days off. He's got some personal things, some celebrating to do. I think his daughter's getting married, so congratulations, Jack, and to his daughter and his wife. And hope the marriage works out well and lasts forever and all that good stuff. So joining me this morning is Byron Williams, as he always does, but this time more in a co-host role. And we'll also have Keith Engle coming on the show today. Good morning, Byron.
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. And good morning to everybody out here who is watching and will be watching as the day goes on, as we restream or reshare this show everywhere else. We're on Roku, YouTube, Facebook page, and Twitter. So, subscribe, follow, and download that Roku app to get our show and a lot of great shows. 2 new ones coming on, Byron, in the next week or so. So real exciting stuff happening over there on Roku for us. So, and of course, you guys are a mainstay over there anyway, the JMB Talking Shop. So
yeah, it's great times. I tell you, it's great. We have a lot of fun and, a lot of excitement, and people can get some insights, and we have some great fans, great listeners.
Yes, we do. Very loyal listeners we have over here at Northeast Streaming Sports. Last night, Byron, we get another look at the Heisman Trophy winner, of course, Bryce Young, going up against a person that was non-drafted, who won some kind of award, being Division II, like their Heisman Trophy award over there, and the one didn't play, at a big school in Division II, ends up having a very good game, matching up well against Bryce Young, as Chicago beats Carolina 16-13.
Right.
And, let's see what we got here. We got Bryce Young threw for 185 yards, and Pageant threw for 162 yards, including there was a touchdown by Deontay Foreman. For the Bears, a big running back that runs downhill. He had a good game, and the defense for the Bears played really well. And Sweat made an impact last night, Byron.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to watch them. Really, it was like two games played in 2 different halves. I mean, seemed like Carolina dominated the first half, and then of course Chicago started playing great football the second half, and it was a good game. Either way it could have went, but like I said, Chicago really pulled it out. The running back became more effective. So he got some great yards, some powerful yards. I mean, he was getting sometimes 6 yards, 7 yards, and of course they had a tough touchdown. Scored a great touchdown, eliminating blocks and running over the defense. But it was a good game, good physical game.
Yeah, it was. The only touchdown Carolina did have was on the kickoff return. I think that was the first play of the game, if I'm not mistaken. And they ran it all the way back. So they come back. And, I keep saying that Bryce Young is going to be a bust. And it's not so much on him, Byron. It's where he's at, right? I mean, Carolina is not a competitive team. And because you're a first-round draft choice, a lot of times you get put on a team that's not very good. And maybe he needs to get out of Carolina. Maybe he needs to go to another team that's more competitive. for him to be, because they can't judge his talent right now, Byron. There's no way to judge it. They can't see if he's going to be good or bad going forward.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You see it on a lot of first round draft charts. They go to a team and they don't have enough protection to block to protect these guys, and they get hurt. They get a lot of sacks. You know, he had 3 or 4 sacks last night, and he's not a real physical guy, and but he's not that big. He's one of the smaller quarterbacks that came out in the last couple of drafts. But he got good talent, good skill set. But, those players out there that hurt you, not really to be your friend. So he take a lot of hits. Yes. And I don't know if he can sustain that because of the fact that, it's a physical game. And you got to be, able to, get the nicks and the bruises and stuff. But, I don't know how long he can take all those hits, those sacks.
Yeah. I mean, he did make a couple nice throws downfield, especially when he was rolling out. He did use his legs a little bit. So did Bagent. And they look like 2 young quarterbacks trying to get themselves together. Bagent will probably be replaced next week with Justin Fields because he's coming back. He was cleared to play yesterday. Gave him 1 more week off before I think they're going to be playing the Lions next, if I'm not mistaken. But, this was Bagent's. He's definitely going to be the second string quarterback ready in case Justin Fields goes back down again.
Yeah, and you enjoy hearing stories like that. Player coming from Division II, and now he's in the big lights, and he really can play. I mean, he just I think sometimes the style of offense that these guys are in dictates a lot of their success. I mean, they don't throw the ball to multiple receivers. They usually try to throw to their main receiver. I think if you get a good tight end, K-Metz is a good tight end. He's really going to be good. So you can see the talent, and you can see that Chicago is setting themselves up to be really, really good in the next year or two. So it's going to be exciting to watch what's happening. So
now, Byron, let me lead you to the next question. You're the GM. You can trade Justin Fields next year and probably get a good 1 or 2 draft picks for him, or you can keep him and use your draft picks to pick up, Caleb Williams or one of the good quarterbacks down there in college. What do you do? I mean, do you trade him and try to build, or do you try to continue building around this guy?
Yeah, and you kind of can feel the temperature, gauge the temperature of the room during the off season and seeing if it's something that you want to continue to go down that road with him. Don't nobody know, the relationship with the offensive coordinator and how he feels. He might be ready to go to another team as well. So it just depends on what you see. And then, I saw where Chicago going to have, I think, the 2nd and the 3rd pick in this next year draft. So they can really get some good players, some top of the line players. So it just depends on which direction they want to go. And I just think sometimes, the style of offense is not set up for maybe this offense not set up for Justin to be successful. Because last year, he ran a lot as a rookie quarterback, and he had very much success. But 2, you got to get some good receivers. You got to get some receivers that can take on those doubles and one-on-one routes and things like that. And so I just think they still need some more pieces. But yeah, I think Chicago, their defense can always play tough. So I think they're not too far off from being top in the NFC North division.
Yeah, I mean, it also depends how he plays for the rest of the year, right? I mean, if Chicago goes on a little run and finishes near 500, they may give him pause for the cause and maybe, think about keeping him around. So I think a lot's going to depend on the Bears season going forward. And they showed a clip of the owner of the Carolina Panthers press box. He was in the luxury box up there, and he was shaking his head and holding his head. He's not a very patient man over there, Byron. So, we'll see what happens, but that's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Carolina Panthers and their coaching situation as it goes along. So let's get into it.
I was just going to say, you look at the history of the Carolina Panthers, you can see they always make changes. They have consistently made changes, and they're one of the fewest teams in the NFL that make changes quick as I don't know what. So everybody got to walk on pins and needles over there in Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, you got to show him something, or you're leaving pretty quick. In the NBA last night, Byron, the 76ers upset the Celtics. It's a couple days ago. beating them 106-103. Embiid has 27 points, 10 rebounds. Tyrese Maxey, the young and upcoming star, has 25 points, in the win. And this Maxey Embiid combination is really starting to roll. They got a couple other good players. Obure, I think, is the forward, and they're playing like a team. James Harden leading. It really opened things up for the whole team because, Harden likes to keep the ball. He likes going one-on-one, where it's more of a team concept this year. And they look like they're having fun playing out there.
Yeah. And they were real close last year. I thought they were going to, make it to the championship game, but they were really close. I think, like I said, the new talent and which is, LB is just a beast. He can play, and they were real close last year. So they're gonna be fun to watch again. And it seems like the coach got them going in the right direction.
Yeah. So the next fight, welcome Wembanyama to the NBA for sure, as they kind of held him. I think it was 14 points. He wasn't getting no easy 3-point shots. He's not going to sit underneath the basket. It ain't going to happen with the Knicks. The Knicks are going to move you out of the box, and they're going to challenge you, which they did. The Knicks are known for their defense. You had Julius Randle. He had 23 points and 16 rebounds. Brunson had 25 points, and R.J. Barrett 24. Quickly has 19 off the bench. Again, a total team effort. And the Spurs, I think, the Spurs are a couple years away. They're going to have to get pieces to go around Wembanyama too to help him out, because he's sure too young to take a team and bring him to any kind of playoff game. Byron.
Yeah, something wrong with my computer. I don't know what happened to my thing went off here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, and you're on live with me, so that's good, Byron. Don't be pressing too many buttons.
I can't even see the deal, but yeah, it's fun to watch him play.
Yes.
I could just see him when he gained like 30, 40 more pounds. He's gonna be awesome. He's gonna be excited to watch, and I'm really excited for him to see what happened. I mean, I watched it when they played the Mavericks, and man, he can really get the good game. They played the first game of the season, but it was good to see that this kid is really going to be exciting to watch.
Yeah, he will be unless he plays the Knicks like 9 out of 10 games, then he won't be that exciting. Byron.
Well, the Knicks are known for defense. They know the rugged defense and tough play. So
yes. So Harden is with the LA Clippers now, and his old team he played the Nets. The Nets beat them 100-93, 21 points off the bench for Lonnie Walker, for other players placing into the double digits. And listen, the Nets had a little thing going last year. They got a young team over there. They're fun to watch, and I imagine they got pumped up to play James Harden a couple nights ago. Yeah.
Because James Harden, he's not liked by too many people. He just because he plays his own game. Like you say, he loves to play that one-on-one game, and he love to just ball hog the ball all the time. He's that type of player. So
yes, definitely are. So that kind of catches you up from a couple nights ago. Last night, the Bucks beat the Indiana Pacers beat the Bucks. The Greek Freak Giannis had a big game, but they still lost as Indiana, again playing team basketball, upset the Bucks in Atlanta. And I'm gonna tell you, their guard, Young, is a master with that ball. I mean, he was setting up everybody. They slipped by the Orlando Magic 120-119. Today, Byron, we got Philly at Detroit and the Nets at Boston. So we'll see what Boston can do if they pick up where they left off just before getting upset, or if the Nets can pull up the upset. We'll see. Yeah,
and I was just gonna say the Hawks are 5-3, and the Magic is 4-4. And the Magic used to be the type of team people just enjoy playing because that's the easy win. But it seems like they're real competitive now.
Yes, Yes, they are. They got a good coach over there. NFL news, Byron. Some of the best teams in the leagues are getting their bye week this week. So you won't see the Chiefs, you won't see the Eagles, you won't see the Dolphins. But we do have a couple very big and interesting games. The Browns will be playing of course, the Ravens, and it's going to be the Ravens offense pretty much against the Browns defense. It should be a very good, not to take nothing away from the Ravens defense, but the Browns are above the Ravens right now, and they're going to have to depend on that defense to beat Jackson and the Ravens.
Right. Yeah, I mean the Ravens are playing at home, and of course the Browns been playing good on the road.
Mm-hmm.
They almost beat Seattle on the road, and that's a tough place to play. But we'll see. That AFC Central Division is gonna be good to watch anyway. So I can't wait to see what happened that game.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking the Steelers, the Browns, the Bengals, the Ravens are all within one game of each other. 3 games tied at 3-3. And if you want a physical division, you go see the AFC North, and you better bring your helmet and put in your mouthpiece because they're going to smack you right in the mouth. That's for sure.
Yeah. I was going to say the Ravens been scoring a lot of points. I'm going to see how many points they score against the Cleveland Brown defense.
Yeah, I think it's a big test. We're really going to see. I mean, I know they blew out Detroit. They blew out another NFC team. I can't remember right now. I kind of got a brain freeze on it. I don't know if it was the Rams or the 49. They blew out Seattle. They blew out Seattle Seahawks also.
Yeah.
I know if I go through all the teams eventually I get it right. But they blew out them 2 teams, and but the Browns are a different animal, and that's going to be a very, very interesting game, big game for the Browns. Kyler Murray expected to play against Atlanta. I don't know if he's learned anything from sitting on the bench, whether to read the book or is he still playing Madden 24, and that's how his game plan is working. I'm not sure, Byron, but we'll get to see him. It's going to be interesting to see if. I mean, it's not a big test. It's not like he's playing the 49ers or the Eagles. He's playing the Atlanta Falcons. So this is probably one of the best situations he can be in. So what do you think? Do you think Kyle Murray is going to be coming out strong or a little rusty, or what do you think is going to happen this game?
Well, I've been knowing him ever since he was in high school, but I think he's gonna be ready and prepared. Sometimes it do players good to sit out and watch, and injuries and things like that. But I look for him to have a big game. I look for him to be very, spread the ball around and be able to run. But I don't know how he gonna run because that knee, that's how he got hurt last year trying to run. But I just think he's gonna be smarter. Hopefully he's smarter. And sometimes time like this can help a player develop and become more mature-minded. So we'll see what happens. But I'm excited to see what happens. I think Arizona's going to be pretty tough to beat now with him playing.
Yes, and you ought to give Kyle a call there, slap around, say, we got to get you on the J&B Talking Shop show, boy. I've been watching you since you was in high school. So
yeah.
Okay.
Me and his dad are real good friends. His dad, he's a mess. So he kind of like his dad. He got his dad attitude there.
Okay, so like father, like son. Dobbs will be in the second game at home versus the Saints. Dobbs with probably the best, maybe the best player I've seen so far in the NFL in this game. His last game, as he willed the Vikings to that last week's win, and running, throwing. I mean, that last drive, they ended up winning the game. Can he do the same thing against that Saints defense?
I think so, because he's been playing. He's been playing quite a bit. He played with all those games with the Cardinals, and then he got the game ball last week. O'Connell gave him the game ball, and so he's excited. I mean, he brought a new way of doing things, new spirit, and they riding that spirit and that winning spirit. So I just think, and they were saying that the team to watch is going to be the Vikings the next 3 to 4 games because of their schedule. And so this is maybe just a chance for him to, get his name on top of that list. And the Saints have been playing good team football no way, so they can go in there and have a good game and get showing against the Saints.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I think that's going to be one of the best games of the week. I know Jack and the Jet fans over there are like, why didn't we get Dobbs to back up Zach Wilson, right? The 49ers get it.
Well, I was gonna say this too. Matt. Maybe the Giants should have got him too. So.
Yeah, why not? I mean, we could use him. The Patriots could use him. There's quite a few teams out there right now that kind of maybe wish they had him in the backup role.
Yeah.
The 49ers, can they get it back together, Byron? I mean, they're playing against the Jags, who are hot. They're hot right now. The 49ers
5-3. The 49ers are 5-3, and the Jags are 6-2. And Jags have been one of my favorite teams anyway, because I love Doug Peterson. But man, they supposed to have some players back, like Deebo Samuel and those guys be back. So it's gonna be good. Gonna be fun to watch them because they got to fly all across. Jim Jeffcoat always talking about when a team fly all across the states. They have a hard time playing. That's his philosophy. But I just think the 49ers is gonna show up and show out.
Well, it bothered Jim, so I think he thinks it bothered all the other players. How Jim likes to sleep. Jim likes to sleep, and he doesn't work out early in the morning, but I know he goes to bed early. So right after the show, I know he's hitting the bed. So I think that's Jim's philosophy because it affected Jim. So let's get. I don't want to get to it, but we gotta. We gotta talk about the Giants. My team. We played for them, and they're going to Dallas as heavy underdogs. I think that the spread is like 16.5 points. Danny DeVito gets out of the cab, and he's going to start this week in his first game. He took a night off from the Subway commercials so he could start. Saquon plays, and he's still a little hurt. The Giants, I think, defense will play inspired after kind of getting their rear end handed to them against the Raiders. So I expect them to be playing inspired, tough defense. I don't know if they're going to be able to hang with the Cowboys 4 quarters. I think it's going to be like a 49er game where we're there in the first half within, a touchdown or 10 points, and then Dallas pulls away. So, Byron, you're in charge right now. I called up the ball. I said, right now on Mac and Jack Sports Show, you're going to give the Giants the answer on how to beat the Cowboys.
Well, first of all, you try to have ball control. DeVito, the young quarterback, you get him a good offensive game plan. You got to involve all your receivers, and you get somehow Saquon got to have a good game. Probably he needs to have his best game thus far this year. And then your defense, we got to do good on special team, and then of course our defense just got to play lights out. I think you put a special cover guy, spying CD Lamb, but other than that, Pollard he's just an average player. He needs Zeke there. He hadn't done a whole lot since the two-back combination was there last year. So the Giants always play Dallas good. They always play Dallas because that's just the tradition that we have. And so I'm going to that game, Matt. I'm going to the game. So maybe I'm going to bring them luck. So I'm
on the sideline.
Yeah, I need to get on the sideline.
Get on that sideline, Byron, because they need you down there. I mean, they do play the Dallas Cowboys tough, but they got railroaded the first game. I mean, they had a good first drive, block field goal, 40-0. And the offense didn't score that many points. It was all the Dallas defensive special teams that did the damage. I think the Cowboys only scored 14 points. So the Giants got to play a good all-around game, as you're saying. I think they're going to miss Leonard Williams in the middle. The running game for Dallas might be better. I also think they got to double CD Lamb. They got to take CD Lamb totally out of the picture. Put one of them young quarterbacks on him, safety towards his side, roll to his side before the game. And if he goes in motion, you've got to bring that safety to the side of the other cornerback, or you put Banks on him the whole game. I don't know what their plan is going to be. Thibodeau has got to have the picture.
That's a good game plan. That's a great game plan. I think you have to do that, and And then I just think too, we might have to have a special play on special team. Like we got to have a punt return. We got to get a fumble. We got to get something on special team. We get turnover, and then that way we'll have some momentum going. The Giants need momentum early to get going. That way they don't get down on themselves. You can't get behind on a good team. You really can't.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And they're going to have to be able to throw the ball. I mean, play action pass, use Barkley, try to get the ball downfield to, Slayton or to Hyatt, whoever they can. Try to open it up a little bit. Maybe play action pass the first play just to show them you're not scared to go deep, just to wake them safeties up. Because if they play that run on Saquon and they just play that run, it's going to be a long day for the Giants. And they've got to loosen them up a little bit right away, I think, Byron.
Absolutely. And one of the things I would do too, I would kind of roll my quarterback to the opposite side of Michael Pearson. And that way we can offset that defense, but also create a lane to throw the ball. Because if you have that quarterback in the middle of that pocket, he has a target. He have a big target on his back. So that's what I would do as well.
Yeah, because DeVito does hold on to the ball too long sometimes. That causes a lot of sacks, especially with that offensive line. We got Thomas back. That'll help out. He's going to have to use his legs every now and then to pick up first downs, to keep the drives going. They got to do. The Giants will have to do a lot to pull up this upset. I don't think it's going to happen. They may keep it closer than 16.5 points. I'm hoping they do, of course, but it's going to be. I just hope it's not a blowout and they're up 21-0 in the first quarter, because then, as you said, then what do you do? I mean, it's with a young quarterback, it's hard to come back, and the Giants' offense is not clicking on all cylinders by any means, right?
One of the things that Parcells did for us was, we win, we get 2 days off, so we get Monday off and Tuesday off, and that really motivated us, and we like that. We rather have those 2 days off than going in on Monday, blah blah blah. So I think too, you need to come up with some type of incentive for the players today. We need this game to get back back on the schedule. So I think the Giants need that type of motivation, and you got to be creative when you play those Cowboys. I live down here, and I tell you, I just hate hearing them. And everywhere you go, they got a cowboy hat on, they got a jersey on, and I was just saying to myself. And then I had a guy talk to me like, "Well, we need to do this." I said, "You ain't. Who is we? You're not even on the team. You trying to be something you're not." And I said, "You just gonna be crying by the end of the season." So
Well, I'll tell you right now, what would be great is if Thibodeau outperforms Parsons in the sack department, and that way Jack may end up, stopping his ribbing of Thibodeau for a while anyway, because I would imagine they're going to showcase that matchup between the outside linebackers, Thibodeau and Parsons. So
I was gonna say, Thibodeau needs to at least have 2 sacks, maybe one in the first half, one in the second half, but he needs to show up. And I'm glad he's increasing his playability a little bit better, because Jack used to let him have it. Jack said he was a bust. So we definitely want to see if Thibodeau can have one of his better games.
And by the way, Dexter Lawrence ended up getting the NFL Defensive Line Player of the Week, because he's got some kind of award for his game, the last couple of games anyway, or the month or something. So Dexter Lawrence is still playing pretty well for him. Anything else that you can think of in this week's games that we got coming up, Byron? I mean, there's more games than what we went over. I know you like Kyle Murray to come back and do something. The 49ers, the Jags. I guess you're gonna go with the Jags there. Or are you going with the 49ers?
No, I went with the 49ers. I just think the 49ers got some of their healthy players back. One of the games that I want to watch is the Washington and Seattle. So yes. Washington is one of those teams, you don't know which team is going to show up. But Washington and Seattle is going to be a game, because Washington is not really a bad team. I mean, we thought they were going to be at the bottom of the conference, but they flipped it with the Giants. Yeah. And So we'll see what happened there.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's going to be a good game also, Byron, because Howell is playing really good. The Washington Redskins defense is no joke. Seattle is they're going to need a good game. They can't. Let's put it this way: their quarterback can't throw interceptions against Washington if they want to win that game.
Right.
He's got to step up.
Right. And then we talked about Green Bay. Green Bay go to Pittsburgh this week, and the nice surprise for Green Bay surprised the Rams and beat them last week. But it's gonna be Pittsburgh right now is looking good. They in the winning column as well, and so it's gonna be a good game. I just think people got to realize Pittsburgh haven't had a losing season the whole time. The coach is there, so I just think Pittsburgh is one of those sneaky teams, and but their defense is awesome. Is awesome. Their defense is awesome.
I think they'll handle Green Bay. The Rams didn't have Stafford last week, so and Green Bay barely beat the Rams. I don't think Green Bay is scaring anyone this year. That's for sure. They're kind of like the Patriots. I mean, you go to play the Patriots, and that's a guaranteed W. I had to say that because Keith Engle popped down underneath just to get him going right away, and we can have some fun right off the rip there.
What have you done for me lately?
Yes, and I got a lot of crazy stuff to talk to you about the Patriots and your former offensive coordinator just got fired by the Raiders, but we're not going to get to that. First, we're going to get. Let's get to that because it's interesting. So I want to get your thoughts on this. Now, this was a wild accusation, Keith, by a traded player, wide receiver Jackson. That was his name. Was cut after catching 2 touchdowns, and for like 100 and something yards almost. And Josh Donaldson cut him because his wife was attracted to him. Now, this is an accusation, but I don't know. I mean, it sounds like something that's made up, but Josh Donaldson is kind of a little nutty there, man. I don't know.
Yeah. There's so many stories coming out. This one is probably the most outrageous.
Yes.
I don't know whether to believe it or not. If it is, Josh Donaldson's got to be the most insecure guy on the face of the earth.
Right.
But I mean, that's only one of the stories. I mean, he couldn't even take this criticism that came from the team meeting that asked him to change some of the way he approached players and approached practices and approached criticism. And he said, fine, if that's what you want, I won't engage at all. I'll just walk around practice and, like I'm not there. And that's what, at the end of the day led to his firing is the fact that first of all, they were failing miserably. And, he decided to check out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to bring up this whole story or something about Tom Brady's whole jockstrap was part of another one. There's a lot of stories out there saying that he could take a high school quarterback and make him start on the team. A whole bunch of stuff
Yes, he did say that. If that's the case, then why wasn't Jimmy G playing like Tom Brady? If that's the case, right?
Yes, I agree. I know the Raiders players are like celebrating since he's been left, and they're playing really hard for their new coach. And I don't know if that'll carry over this week. But we'll find.
I spent a lot of years, especially as Brady was getting ready to have his divorce from the Patriots, defending the coaching staff, Bill Belichick and the rest of the coaches, saying this was a group effort. All the success for 20 years was a group effort. And it's getting harder as we get further away from the Brady era to say that and say it wasn't Brady, because none of these guys can be successful without him. None of them, including the top guy.
I give Bill Belichick his due because he is what he is.
I still do.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy when all your former players are coming out now and saying maybe he's got to move on. I don't know. I'm not sure where loyalty is anymore. If it was my ex-coach, he was having problems. I know it's their job, and it makes headlines because they're former players. But I don't know if I would talk bad about it. It'd be like Byron Williams talking bad about, Bill Parcells and other coaches that he played for. I don't know if I would do that. But it is what it is.
It depends on the
let's-
guys. Certain guys have a axe to grind. Asante Samuel's been speaking out against Bill Belichick for years, since about the day they let him go. So
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
hard.
it
Bill's
definitely is. Well, the thing is, you're not winning. He's not winning, Keith. That's the only problem. If
Yeah.
he was winning, they would all be quiet right now. They would, Bill Belichick.
One thing I think that gets lost too, I'm talking, I do it too. We talk about the players, the player evaluation part. The players aren't as good. They haven't replaced Brady and other key parts. But thing we don't talk about a lot is the fact that he's unable to put together a really strong coaching staff like he did in the past. That's been a big part of this last 3 or 4 years too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I
Yeah.
would agree with that.
And
There's
and that's hard to do too. You have to have a good coaching staff that's committed to the vision of the coach, and they need to come in there and be on the same page. But now you get these coaches from all over the place, and you just don't have the consistency in the coaching staff like you used to.
Exactly. The Patriot way that we all like to talk about really doesn't exist, it feels like, anymore.
Yeah.
That was one thing Parcells said. It was his job to coach the coaches' jobs to coach the players. And it doesn't look like Bill Belichick does that. It looks like he keeps to himself, and they kind of do what they do, and that's it. And I a lot of successful coaches came from Parcells' staff because he spent time and he helped coach them up too. And I think that's part of the greatness of Bill Parcells. So
it's really amazing. The lack of success from his coaching tree is amazing.
Isn't it?
Probably worse than any of the major, coaches, successful coaches we talk about. His has got to be maybe the worst.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with
Yep.
you. So Keith, of course, we have you on here a lot for the college expertise you have. I mean, coaches from Division III schools that are playing in Montana, for God's sakes. You amaze me. It's pretty close. So, of course, Ohio State, again, is still the number one ranked team going up against Michigan State. I don't think Michigan blew them out. I don't think Ohio State will have a problem with them, Keith.
No, Michigan State had a big win last week against Nebraska, if you can have a big win against Nebraska these days. But that was a good win for Michigan State. Just with everything swirling around there, it's been a nightmare of a season there. And Ohio State certainly got a lot to play for. And Ohio State's been playing pretty good football, I think. Last week they struggled a bit with Rutgers for a while, but they should handle Michigan State easily here.
I don't know if I wrote this down right or not, but is Oregon playing Penn State this week?
No. Oregon's playing USC.
Thank you. That I knew it was a tough. I knew not tough, but a nationally known team. Georgia, great defense, ground control, can throw the ball. USC offense, no defense. What do you think, Keith?
Oregon's going to score a ton of points. This game's in Oregon, and their defense is really good. Probably the best defense outside of maybe Utah that USC's seen. I think Oregon will win this game at home. Maybe not as close as some of these other games have been with USC either. Oregon's playing really good football right now.
Yes, they are. I told you, one of my favorite teams in the country. Michigan plays Penn State with head coach still Jim Harbaugh. Are the players going to rally around this guy and maybe play harder than they already are to show that, hey, listen, he's our coach and you're all against us and, you're trying to take our coach away?
Yeah, I think Jim Harbaugh will use that tactic, us against the world. He's one of those guys who likes those types of things. And again, this is not I think again it's a kind of a witch hunt against Jim Harbaugh because people don't like him and people want him out of there, including people at Michigan. And that's what this is all about. I think this is Michigan's best team. I think they'll go to Penn State, which is a tough place to play. I'm sure it'll be a whiteout and they'll win because James Franklin doesn't beat doesn't beat Michigan or Ohio State. So
it's very true. That's very true. It takes me back. I remember one interview that Colin Cowherd had with Jim Harbaugh. I don't know if you ever seen it, but it was very interesting how he was trying to ask Harbaugh questions, and Harbaugh was kind of laughing at him, and he was kind of, Colin Cowherd is a very emotional guy, and he was not even answering the questions. He was saying, "Well, what do you think?" Back to Colin Cowherd the whole interview, and it was kind of a flop.
Harbaugh is, as a person, I mean, he can be a bit disingenuous, and that's why people don't like him. I think he's a really good football coach, which gets lost in some of the other stuff. You look at his resume through his career, and he's been a very good coach and improved a lot of programs that were down, including Michigan, when he got there. So he took a San Francisco team to the Super Bowl with Colin Kaepernick and a tricked up offense. So I think he's a pretty good football coach.
Well, really, he was a pioneer of bringing up the college offense to fit the quarterback. Really, if you think about it, all the NFL teams are doing it now, but he was the first one. He said, if I'm going to win with this guy, I got to bring up his offense. And that's exactly what he did.
Absolutely. And, obviously the league caught up with it, which is, the main reason in my mind Kaepernick's not in the league is he can't play. But he did a great job coaching him up that 1 year.
Yes. Because I know he got in fact, he went out, got the playbook from his college team.
Right.
And put that in there. Florida State against Miami. This should be interesting, Keith. It's a rivalry. They've been going at it for years. And, I don't know if Miami will upset them or not, but Florida State better watch the side view mirror here.
25 years ago, this would have been the big game of the day. But, Miami, both of these programs had fallen on some hard times. And Florida State obviously has rebounded better than the Hurricanes. I'm a Hurricane fan by marriage. And they've had some tough here, and they had some tough losses this year. Not a lot was expected out of this year, as they've had kind of a restart to the program under Mario Cristobal and their failures from last year. But I think Florida State will win this game. I think Florida State's going to the playoff. They'll be undefeated, winning the ACC. I think, and I think they'll win this game. It could be closer than people think, though. Miami's capable of putting up a good game. You just never know what team's showing up any given Saturday.
So you're a Miami University fan by marriage.
By marriage, yes.
By marriage. I think Byron is a Dallas Cowboy fan by marriage too. I'm not sure. He's never.
Actually, I'm a Razorback fan by marriage because my wife grew up in Arkansas.
All right, so there you go. So we also have Washington playing Utah. Washington is kind of faltering, Keith, and Utah is good enough to beat them, maybe?
Maybe. It depends on the offense. I mean, they've got a really, really good defense, but the offense has really been, I don't know if I want to say underachieving, because they don't have the talent level that they've had in the past. They've missed Cam Rising the entire year. In fact, I'm pretty sure they've redshirted him so he's got eligibility next year now that he's missed this much time. Washington has been a little up and down since that Oregon big win, I don't know, a month ago, and had some close calls against some, pretty teams that are well below their talent level. So this could be a closer game than we think, but I do think Washington will win at the end of the day.
I do too.
They find a way to win. They're still undefeated. They're finding ways to win.
Yes, true. Number 7, Texas, who has shown another, they're in a lot of close games maybe they shouldn't have been in. They did get a loss. They're going up against TCU. I don't know how good TCU is this year. They were good. Yeah, they were good a couple of years ago. They had a great offense. Not so much.
Yeah, this is a shell of the team that went to the championship game last year, the national championship game last year. They lost a lot, starting with their quarterback, but they did have the quarterback that he replaced when he got hurt last year in Morris, but they haven't played up to snuff. I mean, we thought it was a big deal when Colorado beat them in week 1, but it's turned out that win doesn't look as good, as TCU struggled much of the year. Texas with a lot to play for. Right now, it looks like they and Oklahoma State are at least on track to play in the Big 12 championship game. Texas wins there, even with their one loss. There's a scenario where they could still get in the playoff. If you have an undefeated an undefeated Washington, an undefeated either Penn State or Ohio State, and an undefeated Florida State, and Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship game, there's a chance there's no SEC team in the playoff because Texas beat Alabama. It's going to be very interesting how the committee weighs those records. They'll both have one loss. It'll be very interesting. So all these games are for Texas. They've got to win out and put the pressure on this committee if one of these teams falters ahead of them.
Yeah, Byron right now is trying to figure out the way Arkansas can get in the Final Four. It's not going to happen.
If they had about 30 games.
My baby daughter went to Texas, so I'm really a Texas Longhorn fan, you know.
Right.
Man, Byron's all over the place here with
we can make up anything. Yeah, my second cousin removed plays for Georgia. So Alabama versus TCU. Alabama Keith, they just keep playing good football. They keep getting better. You know, I'm thinking Alabama's going to the Final Four.
Alabama and Georgia are pretty much guaranteed to play in the SEC championship game. A disaster would have to happen to one of them for that not to happen, and I don't see it happening these last couple of league games. Alabama has gotten better ever since the South Florida game when Saban sat down Milroe. And Milroe's played really good football since he came back. And like Georgia as well, both these teams have gotten better as the season's gone on. Their quarterbacks have gotten better. Their defense have gotten better. They're not vintage Georgia, Alabama teams, but, you know, they're going to play each other again. And Alabama's going to have a chance to beat Georgia in that game and, you know, find themselves in a playoff potentially, or at least in a conversation with that Texas one-loss team, like I said before, too. It's going to be very interesting if that happens.
Yeah, commentators are now calling that Melrose Place where he sat him down and kind of got on back together. That's why I'm on the show, Keith. I come up with all these weird stuff.
Look at, and this is why Nick Saban's he's the greatest college football coach of all time, because he takes teams that aren't as good and they play better than they probably should, and they get better as the year goes on. Him and Kirby Smart are just a notch above everybody else right now.
I watched the interview they had with him, a good interview. They sent him down, and he stressed they don't talk about winning as much as becoming better players and better people and stuff like that. That's what they stress there at Alabama more than actually winning the game, and that causes the team members to kind of bond and play together. So it's very interesting his approach.
Absolutely.
A couple interesting games. I forgot they had Thursday night college football on, but Louisville did beat Virginia. Virginia has a really good defense, Keith, but Louisville hangs on, and they still only have one loss.
Yeah, Virginia is not one of the better teams in the ACC, but they've given some of these AC teams a tough fight. They're only 2-8, I think 1-5 in the conference. Gave Miami a really tough game, and it's been a tough year as they've tried to still overcome the tragedy from last year of the killings of some of the players and some other students along with them. That's been a thing that's been following them around. So they fight hard every game, and I'm impressed with Tony Elliott and the job that he's done. And hopefully they don't look to move on from him just because of the record. I think they should look at the effort here. And Virginia gave Louisville all they could handle last night, for sure. They
did. They really did. Of course, we got to talk about Colorado because of Deion Sanders. Arizona's playing them. And of course, Colorado's kind of falling in hard times. And people are kind of jumping and making fun of Deion Sanders over there. Listen, Colorado is going to be a very good program for years to come as long as he stays there and he don't go to the pros. I don't know if he will or not. But maybe when his kid is eligible to go to pros, maybe he'll go to the pros and become a coach then. Who knows? But, it's interesting to see how Colorado develops and what they're going to – there you go. That was Deion Sanders, just to let you know. I'm not going to talk.
Oh, Deion's calling in the show.
Yeah,
we hung up. Nice.
Yes, I know. He went. So, but anyway, Colorado. I don't know if they'll beat Arizona or not, but again, they're playing well this year.
Look, they've struggled. They're 1-5 in the Pac-12. The perspective is everything. Everybody said, including myself, I thought they'd go 6-6 this year, and that would be a very good step forward for Colorado based on where this program has been for the last mostly 2 decades. And now that they got off to a 3-win start, people are disappointed and saying now the team's not as good as Deion thought it was. Well, it was never that good. They have a lot of flaws. This team, maybe they won't even win 6 games right now because Arizona I had as a win. Arizona's playing really good football. Much better at home, but they're playing really good football. I think they're 5-2 in conference, still with a chance to get to the Pac-12 championship game. Jed Finch, who's their coach, former Patriot quarterback coach, has done a really good job. He was on the block because they were not very good his first 2 seasons there, and he was on the hot seat before the season started. And they played great football, beat some good football teams, and pushed some that they didn't win. So I think Arizona goes into Colorado and wins this game.
Okay. Let's talk a little New York Yankees fast. I mean, New York Knicks fast than the Yankees. Randall gets hurt early but resists as they try to take him out of the game. He won't come out. Mitch Robinson, of course, a monster on the boards for him. They showed Wembanyama what it's like to play in the NBA when it gets physical, holding them to 14 points. And the Knicks are known for their defense, and that's what keeps them in games. So a total team effort, big defense, and they beat the Spurs with Wembanyama. You know, Spurs just aren't ready for prime time yet. It's going to take a couple of years.
Yeah, it will. They're a young team, and I have no doubt that they will rebound. But you know, this is a good win for the Knicks. The Knicks have had a very up and down start at 4-4. They've won 2 in a row now. The offense starting to play a little bit better. You know, early on I think they felt like into too many, you know, one-on-one situations, which, you know, hurts that team when that happens. And the defense, as you said, has been still pretty good for the most part. Look at 4-4. It's a long season. This team's going to be fine. They're going to win 50+ games probably, and it's a matter of how they'll match up with teams in the playoffs. I think this team will get better as the year goes on. Not getting too worked up over this slow start.
I think they can beat anybody in the East, and they can lose to almost anybody in the East, and that's their problem right now. You know. So a little New York Yankee news. Of course, we expected Cole got the Cy Young Award. Volpe, unexpected to me anyway, got the Golden Glove Award.
That was a very big surprise to me, actually. I mean, he played good defense, but I didn't think he played Gold Glove defense. So I didn't see everybody else play.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good shortstops in the league in the MLB. Yeah. So I was kind of surprised. I guess he did better than we thought. Yeah. He's a good young player. He's going to be fine as shortstop, as long as they don't mess with him. And I think if they stop messing with him, moving up and down the lineup, his offense will kick in a little bit better. You can't prepare for being lead off and then batting 7th and 4th and 9th. I would like to see him, and I think he will as he matures, change his approach at the plate a little bit. I mean, he swings too much, you know, uppercut like everybody else, swinging for the fences too many times, not paying attention to the situation that you're in. And I think that'll improve. They'll cut down the strikeouts and put the ball in play more, because the guy's fast too. So put the ball in play and put the pressure on the defense. You know, that's something that's kind of lost in today's game. But I think he'll do that as he gets more mature. So Brian Cashman is his own worst enemy. He's looked at the tapes, and he says we have to bunt the ball more to win. Yes, you do have to bunt the ball more, but that doesn't add up to wins. You also got to drive in the guys that bunt the ball. So, I mean, I don't know why the Yankees are sticking with him. There's got to be a pact there between him and Boone and Steinbrenner. There's got to be some kind of untold secret there that nobody's talking about. So, but he's our GM next year, Keith.
You know, he went on a tirade here this past week about, you know, during a press conference. And I mean, one of the things he threw out there was, this is a really good baseball team. And I don't know what baseball team he was watching all year, because I didn't see a really good team out there most nights. So, and you put it together, Brian. So there's no place to point fingers.
Right. And Byron thinks that the Rangers are a little bit better than the Yankees, and they're just, you know, about.
Listen, if Byron, you're a Ranger fan, congratulations to the Rangers on their first World Series victory.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Keith.
I was a doubter in this team, as some of my followers can attest to, and they withstood a couple of road bumps in the road and did very well. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, thank you so much. I got 2 guys that's real close to me that was a part of the team.
Cool.
And one guy's a scout for the Rangers, and another guy is the partnership director of franchise, potential franchise partnering up. But it was really good to see those guys. One is 28, the other is 30. So good young guys that I coached football on the one guy. He played quarterback for me first through the sixth grade and ended up getting a baseball scholarship to UTA and played. And then the other kid got drafted by the Yankees. He grew up outside of Dallas. He got drafted by the Yankees, and I think that was maybe in 2016, I think. So, but yeah, they have a good skipper there, a good manager.
They got maybe the best manager in the last couple of decades anyway in Major League Baseball. Maybe one of the best of all time. Bruce Bochy's are just a great manager.
Yeah,
exactly. Arguably. Good morning, Rick. Glad you made it in. Byron is just upset with Jack. He had to come in and we took Jack out of the lineup. Byron does have a lot of work. Yeah. No, really, Jack is attending a wedding. I think his daughter's getting married, so he'll be out for the next couple of days. So congratulations.
You can't replace Jack with nobody. So
yeah, that's the truth, good or bad. It is the truth. So
you should have done a Jack Hurst impression for this whole hour, Byron. That would have been interesting.
That would have been funny. Mac. I felt like just taping that and playing it during the whole show so I could. So Patriots news. Of course, they're going over to Germany. I know Germany is really waiting for this big game between the Pats and the Raiders. Yes, Rick, priorities. What are you gonna do? It's built in his contract. I can't do nothing about it. Anyway, we're going to Germany against the Raiders, who are playing inspired football. Number 98 Crosby is like a hornet buzzing around the quarterback the whole game. Yeah. Good young quarterback. Anyway, he was decent last week. I think the Patriots will change that a little bit. I expect a very close, low-scoring game, Keith. And, I hate to say it, but I think the Raiders will pull this out.
I think it's entirely possible. Mac Jones takes care of the football, which is, a problem a lot of games. They'll have a chance to win. They keep this. They can't get in a shootouts with anybody because we can't put the ball in the end zone. But I expect a low-scoring game. And the big question is going to be whether, Belichick comes back with a team from Germany if they do lose. A lot of rumors.
Belichick's got his own plane.
I have a hard time believing the rumors that if he loses this week, they're going to fire him. That
he'll be in. He's going to finish out the season. Keith.
I think he'll finish out the season.
Win, lose, wherever he finishes. Yes.
I never thought we'd get to this point, so anything could happen at this point.
Yes, anything can. But I don't care. There's still enough Belichick. Guys out there that would be very upset with the Patriots if they did that to him. That was like what Dallas did with Landry was very looked bad upon now, even though it really wasn't Jerry Jones' fault. He gave him an opportunity to, be let go with some kind of ceremonies. He wanted to keep coaching. So,
and I think that's a lot more class than Jerry Jones. So
I do too. I do too. But I mean, Jones did. We talked. Jim did talk about that one time, and it's not like they just booted him. They did offer him, a way out of there that would have been respectful. But Tom Landry wanted to coach, just like Bill Belichick. I think is still going to want to coach. It's good. It's a pretty much, two of the most creative defensive coordinators in the history of football are going to be released probably in the same way because they couldn't keep up with, today's football. It's hard to adjust when you get to a certain age.
You watch it's talent evaluation is the biggest problem more than coaching, because you watch these games and these other teams there's more speed and more athleticism on every one of these teams than the Patriots every week.
Yeah. It's very true. Keith, I know you got to go get your show ready. That's going to be right after us. Are You Serious? With the Mad New Yorker. Keith, thanks for coming in as you always do. Have a great show. Tune in, folks. He's out right out after Roku. He's on after us. So
great being here. Have a good weekend, guys. Good seeing you, Byron.
All right. Good seeing you too. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And with leaving Keith, we got to get this show wrapped up here. Byron, thanks for stepping in. Byron said he might be with us. I mean, he's not guaranteeing it right now. This is going to be a surprise. He might. So much for a surprise. Byron will be joining us on the Sunday Football Show, his first appearance alongside his compadre, Jim Jeffcoat, and they'll be having some fun with us. It's a very fun show, Byron. We'll be laughing the whole show because we have a lot of fun on that show. Very informative, but man, we just crack up the whole show and make it fun for everybody. So,
Okay.
all right. So Byron will be with us Sunday. Tomorrow's the Mac and Jack debate show where we might have Jim Jeffco coming on. You never know. I mean, things are out there happening, folks, in Roku land here on Northeast Streaming and Sports. So be ready for anything. Have a great Friday. Stay out of trouble. Don't be drinking and driving. You get home, then get drunk as you want. Okay, folks? Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow on the Mac and Jack Sports Debate Show. Have a good one, folks.
All right. Goodbye.